everybody that you meet is a blessing. You know, everybody that you meet is a blessing. It is up to you whether you are courageous enough to say hello to to the person that you're meeting, because you never know who. They wanted to expand to Nigeria, so I was able to, at that time, invite them to Nigeria, and we wanted to actually set up the factory in at Olabisi Onabanjo University. At that time, my senior brother was the vice chancellor at that time. There are a lot of proud moments. You know, and as we grow, we accomplish, you know, different, you know, a different level of accomplishment also. I think my latest accomplishment would be, you know, the idea that I wrote a book. You know,
what's the title?
It's like The Power of Networking, you know, and it's available, you know, on Amazon. We are advising the people that, you know, have not, for example, I know now that, you know, in Ottawa alone, we have, you know, maybe about 6 restaurants, you know, that are Nigerian-owned restaurants and Nigerian flavored restaurants right now, which in the last 10 years wasn't the case. Even now, Canada is trying to keep every student that comes here. Any Nigerian student that comes here is given a work permit right away, unlike when we came, and that we could lose our, you know, our visa, you know, right away. But now they're encouraging them to stay and work and get the Canadian experience. So that's the future. That's the present, and it's going to have an impact on the future of Nigerians in Canada.
Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Dr. Alaba Agbatogun. This is Aramoda TV. And if this is your first time of joining us, I want to please appeal to you that you should please try as much as possible to share this video with friends, families, and colleagues, because there's a lot we are going to learn today. And just to let you know that my guest today on this platform is a community leader in Ottawa, in Canada here. I just don't want to say so much about him, but I would like him to introduce himself. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alaba. You know, it's a pleasure to be here, you know, and we're coming live from Ottawa, Canada. My name is King Wale Adesanya, you know, King Wale Ade for short. And I'm glad to be on this program to, you know, dialogue with, you know, with the people here. Thank you for inviting me.
King Adewale Adesanya, you know, I usually call you Egbon.
Yes.
So, viewers, don't mind me if intermittently I say Egbon. Egbon simply means elder brother. for those of you who do not understand the Yoruba. So Egbon means elder brother, because you'll get to know why I call him Egbon. Can you please tell us where you hail from? Ibo, Nuwatibi, Ibo le dàgbà sí?
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, I was born in Kano, you know, to a family from Abeokuta, and we migrated. I mean, my father migrated to Kano while working for the Nigerian Railways Corporation in the 60s. Sorry, in the 50s, sorry. And then, of which where I was born late in the 50s. And then they moved back to my father joined the United Bank of Africa, UBA, United Bank for Africa. You know, they moved back to Lagos, Ibadan axis. So that's where I'm originally from. So I'm a typical Nigerian, you know, born in Kano to a Southwest, you know, parents.
So if we have to do a little bit of mathematics or arithmetic right now,
Yes.
Can I say you are about 52 years, or how old are you? Let me just...
Well, I just turned 67 last week.
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry, are you really sure that's your age?
Yeah, I was born in 1957, June 7th.
And you look like somebody that's under 55.
Age is just a number.
So is there any secret to this? Maybe you just want to tell us a little bit why you look younger than your age.
Well, you just have to be, you know, do what, you know, put your mind at peace. You know, you just need to be yourself, and you know, have a good mind. If you love people, you love life, then I'm sure, you know, the universe will give you, you know, good health and good prospect.
Awesome. So you were born in Kano.
Yes.
And you were born in Abeokuta. Am I correct?
No, I was born in Kano.
Your parents were
from Abeokuta.
From Abeokuta, yes. And you were born in Kano. Yes. Then how did you find yourself in Canada?
Oh, well, that's another situation. I graduated in 1974, 50 years ago now, from high school, and worked, you know, for UBA for a few years, and then I moved to Canada in 1978, which is like 47 years ago. And to come to university, I went to University of Ottawa, and I've been in Canada since then.
So what actually inspired you? Because there are universities in Nigeria and there are other universities in Africa. What inspired you to actually come to study in Canada?
Well, I got a scholarship to any university, and I decided to come to Canada because I read a little bit about Canada, the Great Lakes, and I figure it's one of the, it's like America but better, you know, in the sense that it's more peaceful, and that interests me. So I chose University of Ottawa back then.
To study which program?
I did mechanical engineering at Ottawa U, you know, and when I came to Ottawa U, Ottawa was very, very small, and there were very few Black people at that time in Ottawa. So, I mean, we always joke around that, you know, if you see a Black man across the street, you cross over, you know, to go and shake their hands and get their number, because you never know when you're going to see another one. So that was back then in 78.
So in 78, there were few Black people in Ottawa.
That's correct. And we didn't discriminate whether you are African or you are Jamaican. You know, Black is Black then.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So as an engineer, after graduation, you started to practice as an engineer. Is that correct? Or what did you do?
Yeah, actually, what happened is after my graduation, I had to go back to Nigeria, and I didn't want to go back, so I enrolled in another program. We used to call ourselves, like our professional students at that time. You have to stay in school to, in order not to keep your visa because you're not allowed to work at that time. So during that time, I got married and got sponsored, by my then wife, to as a permanent resident. So that's when but I still had to go back to Nigeria for 6 months to process my paper and then came back.
When you came to Canada in 1978,
Yes.
what were those challenges you faced? Or it was just a smooth running life for you?
No, it wasn't. It was very. Um, it wasn't like as it is right now, because back then, number one, you cannot work if you're on a student visa. You have to uh, definitely. If you call you the next day, you back in your home country. So most of us, have to, make sure that we are not, going foul of the law. And they were very strict then at that time. Like now that Canada need more people to work, and being part of the baby boomers at that time, there was more people, less job availability, and they were being kept for Canadians. So we were not considered Canadians; then we were students. So we have to stay. And at that time, things were also very cheap. Back then, we were living on scholarship money that was like less than $500, and you have to pay your rent, pay do everything at that time. So
$500 per month?
yes, definitely. And you have to pay your rent, you have to eat, and you have to buy your books, and you have to go out and party too. So it was difficult.
Oh, wow. So, King Wale,
Yes, my brother.
back then, as a typical Yoruba boy that time,
Yes.
how has your cultural background influenced your lifestyle in a strange land?
Well, I thank God for being a Yoruba, born, child, because one of the things that I got from my, parents, my father, is that they said, "Oruko ni," in terms of, the only thing that is important to you is your name, and you have to keep a very good name, no matter what you do. And that's what has guided my everything I do in terms of in life, because I believe that you need you need to keep the the Adesanya name, very. You have to cherish it and make sure that you don't foul it. According to you don't do anything to tarnish the name of the family, and uh, do your best to help other people, and to achieve whatever your goal. But make sure that whatever you do, you don't tarnish the name of the family, and that's my guiding light, in life.
Can I just take you back a little bit?
Yes.
The other time you said when you came to Canada, there weren't a lot of Black people.
Yes.
Was that the reason why you decided not to get married to an African?
Well, yeah, partially that, because if when you in Rome, you behave like Romans, and it's not. You if you can only pick from what is available, and that's a good reason. Yes.
Okay, and when you made that decision, what was the disposition of your parents?
Well, my father, before I left Nigeria, always said, "Don't make sure you don't marry Oyinbo." So,
then how did you do it?
well, I I mean, eventually you do what you have to do, and he got to really by meeting, my wife at that time, he got to change his mind. Sometimes, we are forced to leave. I mean, based on, we say things that we don't understand in terms of, I'm sure my father never lived in America before, so while he was growing up, so he didn't understand the white folks at that time. So everybody's always afraid of the unknown. So when you go overseas, there's always, the first thing is don't marry Oyinbo, but Oyinbo is human beings. They do everything the same way. They fall in love and they have kids. So we got, we end up, with 2 kids that they love. So it's really nice.
So let's go a little bit into your family. You have how many kids? And I want to assume that you have grandchildren. Is that correct?
Yes, I have 3 grandkids. I have technically I have 2 kids, and with my new blended family, we have 3 kids, and my daughter. I have a son and a daughter, and an adopted son, and my daughter have 3 kids, grandkids, which is 2 girls and 1 boy. So we're blessed. Thank God.
So the other time you were to talk about what you did after graduation, you said you went back to Nigeria as an engineer. Did you practice engineering, or what did you do after that? Or you are still practicing as an engineer?
Well, my at that time, my goal for going there was just to wait for my papers to be processed. So by the time I came back, I got a job at in a computer. Sorry, let me go back a little bit. After engineering, like I said, we have to be professional students. I took a course in computer programming. So when I came back, I got a job as a computer programmer first at that time. And while I was working, in that field, I had to, so I was working as a computer programmer for a while, not in engineering per se, and I did that for a little bit until I met, one of my, uh, one of my, another Canadian guy that says, okay, if you want to be, you have a very good attitude, you're very passionate with people. Would you like to be self-employed? And I said, sure, why not? What do I have to do? And he introduced me to, financial, investment and insurance, company called MetLife back in the days, and which was no, sorry, Prudential of America. Yeah, it was an American company, Prudential of America, and I joined Prudential of America because I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to be own my own, make as much money as I can, instead of having to work for somebody. So that's how I got into the financial industry, and I did that for over 30 something years.
And is that what you are still doing right now?
Yes, because yes, I'm still in the financial industry. I own my own brokerage now, thank God. I have, a lot of other companies also that I manage. That I started. At one point, I also invested in music. I did because when I was in the university, one of the things that I was doing was bringing people together, as the Black people. So I was a DJ at the university during my university days. So when I graduated, I moved a little bit into the entertainment world, and but so that's why I needed to be self-employed to be able to finance my entertainment investment. So at that time, I was doing concerts. I was bringing in different artists,
Okay.
from all over the world. And as a matter of fact, I was the first person to bring a rap artist to the city of Ottawa.
And who was that person?
That was Ice-T. That was a rap guy from the US. And after that, I've done all the big names, like that you can name of, like, Public Enemy, like Naughty by Nature, like, De La Soul, just name all of them. I was bringing them one by one. Then I graduated into the idea of starting a festival called the Canadian Urban Music Festival, which we started in 1998.
And are you still doing that right now?
I did that for 5 years, the Canadian Urban Music Festival, because there was no avenue for rappers and reggae artists, So for Black music, there was no avenue for that. So I started that in 1998. And the last one we did was in 2003 when we did, Lucky Dubé, De La Soul, and we did the largest drumming assembly. We were trying to compete with for the Guinness Book of World Record, but we didn't win. But we got the largest drumming assembly in Canada at that time, with over 1,000 people drumming together. In 2003, we call it the Artbeat Festival. Which was part of the Canadian Urban Music Festival. So I guess we ran out of money anyway in 2003.
I was about asking who funded the drumming assembly. Was that from?
That's part of the Canadian Urban Music Festival, and
Okay.
I paid the majority of it. We did, and then we had some investors also. But we ran out of money in 2003, and because of the deficit there, I had to, stop for a little bit and focus on my, core job, which is the financial investments, insurance services.
So now, what kind of advice would you give to youths or individuals that is aspiring to go into entertainment promotions?
Well, I mean, entertainment is a very, very tricky business. You have to have a lot of money, or you have to have, partners that have a deep pocket, because, like, you are trying to bring something that you believe that people will love. And yes, the people that will attend your concert will love the event, but there may not be enough people to cover your costs because of so the advice that I will give people that want to get into the music industry or promotion or concert is number one, don't overpay the artist, because that's where the beginning of whether you win, you make money or not. The artists always believe that they want more than they are really worth in your city, because they don't know your city. They can say, okay, look, I'm worth $1 million, everywhere I go, but in my city, maybe you worth 100,000. So you have to cut your code according to your size and negotiate the price down. You can say, okay, look, if after I recoup my money, you can have 100% of whatever it is, or 80% of whatever is left after I recoup my money. If the artists believe in themselves and they think they can do, great numbers, they can go for that, because they end up making more money if the event is successful. So that's number one. Number two is that the production cost is, it's always, higher than you anticipate. It can go up. Other aspect of it is the room rentals. The advertising is like another major expenses that can, that varies. And the artists are looking for guarantee from you. You cannot overpay them with guarantee. You have to let them, share in the risk after you cover their everybody cover their basic expense. So I think it's in the negotiation of the deal, that matters. That's what I would tell people, that just don't overpay the artist. Don't believe in the hype of the artist yourself. Go into it as a business, because as a business, you have to buy. You're buying an act, and you're trying to sell it in pieces. So if you overpay for the act, then you already at a deficit, because if you can't sell it, or if your price is too high, then it's gonna be. You're gonna have to ask for a higher, more expensive ticket, and then that will lower the number of people that can afford to come to your event.
Let me take you on that. The way you are speaking about people trying not to overpay artists, it clearly shows that there was a time, but there were times when you experienced loss in promoting entertainers, right?
Yes.
So how did you recover from that?
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example of an event that I did do, when the artist is one of the best rapper in Canada. His name is Maestro Fresh West. When Maestro Fresh West came out, we had a good deal because it was new, and we were the first time. So we had a deal to his fee was very reasonable, and I was going to do him in Halifax. Like I was doing the show from here to Halifax at that time, so I was going to do a concert with him in Halifax. So, but we already had a fixed um, uh, price for him. By the time I left Ottawa, and we went on sale for the ticket, by the time I left Ottawa, we already made money. We already doubled our money, our investment in from paying him and the cost of the room and advertising. So when he got to Halifax, and we got to the Halifax, I gave him more, like limousine and all that stuff, like spoiling, um, more or less, because the cost, my cost was low enough for me to be able to spend more money on him. When he came out with another album, I now bought 4 shows. I bought shows in different locations, which is because of the experience of the last time, with the idea that it was going to be more money, right? So I paid him more money for 4 shows. Instead of buying one show, I bought 4 shows. I bought Fred in New Brunswick, Fred is in New Brunswick, St. John, New Brunswick, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and Halifax, Nova Scotia. But unfortunately, by the time that, because I now pay more money, by the time that we got to we were selling the ticket was so slow everywhere. So when we got to the fourth show, I paid him the full balance. I mean, the remaining balance for the show. And then when we went to but then I lost money. But then when we went to the second show in St. John, it was a good show, same show, good show, but the attendance was low.
So you
So
lost
I
money.
lost money in St. John. By the time we went to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, I already exhausted, my allocated funds. So it was kind of hard to do that. So as soon as I did that, I have to, renegotiate with him, with his management, and say, look, you know what? We have one more show, but I don't think it's gonna be easy for me.
To run that.
To run the last show. So you have to basically either come with me and do it, with the idea that we're gonna build a relationship, or we cancel the show and I refund the money back. So we ended up doing the show, and we ended up becoming friends because they understand that at least I was very transparent, and I didn't run away. From the show, I just basically laid the card on the table for them, and they, so we're still friends now. Over 30 years now. They still. We still keep in touch because they know that they can trust me as a business partner, and sometimes a business can get tough. So that's a good example of overpaying people, and sometimes when the deal is right, you are okay, you want to do more, but if the deal is sour, then you have to go and borrow more money to pay the artists, because the artists always want to get paid because it's a contract, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you renegotiate, based on transparency and tell them, look, this is the way it is now.
Okay. Now let's take a look at your involvement in the community.
Yes.
So, if people should talk about King Wale Adesanya, what would they say about you?
Well, I hope they say good things. That they say the truth about it. I'm sure they will. Anyway, the idea is that I was for 7 years the president of the Nigerian Canadian Association in Ottawa. I was one of the founding members of that organization back in the days, because we started as a student union, and then when we graduated, we kind of turned it into the Nigerian Canadian Association. Now we have association across Canada, that is networking together. And after that was like over 20 years ago now. And what we find out, as we mature in Canada, and we know the ins and out of Canada for the last 46 years. So we kind of figured that one of the areas that Nigerians are missing is in the business community. So
sorry, King. Before you go to the business, we'll still go to the business arena.
Yes.
Now, you talk about the Nigerian Canadian Association in Ottawa.
Yes.
And you said it started about 40 years ago, right?
Right.
So are you saying that Nigerian Canadian Association in Canada started in Ottawa?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
What year was that?
That would be around 70, because we started as a student union, so that would be around 79, 80, 1980, yes.
Okay, and how did it extend to other cities, other provinces? Because I'm aware that we have it in Alberta, we have it in Manitoba, we have in Toronto, in some other cities, even outside Ontario.
Correct.
So how did that extension start?
Good. That's a good question. We started it as a student union. We migrated. Remember, I told you that in 1978, when you see a black person, you run across the street to shake their hands. There was very few black people. So what we did when we were at the university, is to come together, under the African Roots Club, and then we had the Nigerian Canadian Youth Club, and the fact that the embassy is in Ottawa. So when we have the critical mass to be able to engage and dialogue with the High Commissioner there, so we formed the Nigerian Association, Nigerian Canadian Association at that time. So, and by virtue of our connection with the doing events with the Independence Day celebration for Nigeria at the embassy, everybody that came, because we used to invite people from other students and other people that are living outside Canada. So we encourage them to start a chapter then. So in Montreal, in Toronto, in Calgary, I think every major city now has a chapter of NCA, the Nigerian Canadian Association. I think the biggest now is actually maybe Calgary, but we're glad that definitely that the Nigerian Canadian Association has found the footprints in Canada.
Okay. Now, you just said that the biggest chapter of Nigerian Canadian Association is in Calgary.
Yes.
And viewers, you will permit me to say this in Yoruba. Yoruba adage says, "Eni abalaba ni baba."
Yes.
You see, which simply means first to start should actually be the biggest. How did it happen that Calgary has taken over from the initiators, the founders in Ottawa?
Well, that's a good question, but that's a very simple answer to it. It's all about population. Most people, we have more people in Toronto and more people in Calgary. As development and people start coming in, we have more Nigerians. I guess it's because of the oil industry there. And the people in Ottawa, because we are a government town, there are less people that want to stay, in a more police state, so you have less people that stays in Ottawa, and most people move to Toronto, they move to Calgary, they move for job and for school. So there are different reasons, but I think we still have less population of Nigerians here in Ottawa compared to Calgary, compared to Toronto.
So, still talking about NCA, or Nigerian Canadian Association.
Yes.
Were you the first president? If not, in what year did you become the president, and when did you leave the throne of the presidency?
I think the first president will be Uncle T. Timothy was the first one, because he was one of the elders, in at that time in the city. I think I will be probably after that. I think there was Basi Inyang, and then there was Ime Inyang. There was another gentleman, Easterner, can't remember. I don't want to screw the name up. And then when he moved out, I became the president of the association. That would be in the 80s. At that time. So,
and then
over 20 years ago, yes.
So when did you hand over to another person? Can you remember the year?
I was there for about 7 years.
7 years.
And then I handed over to Godwin Ifedi.
Okay.
And Godwin Ifedi handed over to Brenda Bastaki. Godwin was my vice president at that time.
Okay.
And that was around the same time that the Shokon Yoruba organization started, to balance the Otumuna organization, because we wanted to keep the Nigerian association as a uniting force at that time. So yeah, I think when I Godwin Ifedi was my vice president, and then after I handed over to Godwin. Godwin handed over to the late Brenda Obasaki, and Brenda Obasaki handed over to Victor. Victor Wilson, handed over to John Adeyefa.
Okay.
John Adeyefa now handed over to I believe
was that not Chooks?
Chooks, yeah, Chooks, and then
Chooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Chooks handed over to Effie at that time. Yes.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
That's quite interesting. Now, since 1978, looking at some of the things you have done or things you have participated in, what are those initiatives that you actually get involved in for the past 47 years?
Well, we started in 2000 when I was actually, come to think of it, 2000, I was still the president of the NCA at that time when the then president Olusegun Obasanjo came here, for the official presidential visit, in 2000. And during that, he became president in 1999. So he came in 2000. Canada was one of the first places. So, and I spent about, the 3 days with him. I was, one of the people that organized his visit, from the community perspective. And and at that time, he kind of initiated the idea of all Nigerian diaspora, forming NIDO, the Nigerian Diaspora Organization, which we inaugurated in Washington D.C. The idea started in was incubated in Atlanta, but it was launched in Washington D.C. So I was part of the delegation that went to that inaugural meeting in Washington D.C. And we had organized the Canada aspect of it, so which was good. And we came back and we launched our own Nigerian in Diaspora organization, which we were, I think, chapter 7, region 7 at that time of NIDO Americas. So I was one of the founding members of that, at that time in Canada.
And is it still functioning?
Yes and no, and I'll get to it now. So we had the NIDO Nigerian Diaspora Organization, Region 7 in Canada, and in 2002 Dr. Kasim was a Canadian that became the national chairman, the continental chairman of NIDO America. So we decided that we're going to, organize ourselves as NIDO Canada. And Dr. Kasim now being the chairman of the NIDO America, now we decided to register the name NIDO Canada. But the person that was charged to register it, personalized it. And as such, we lost the use of the name after a number of years litigating the matter. So that's why we able to adjust ourselves and start the Nigerian and Canadian business network, which started as Nigerian Professional and Business Network.
King.
Yes.
You said NIDO was personalized.
Yes.
And that crystallized into a kind of legal litigation.
Yes.
What happened?
I rather not go into the details because that would be. I mean, it was
The reason why
expensive.
The reason why I ask is that some viewers who will be watching this edition may want to know, because they want to know about history. They want to know the involvement of the current network. Yes. What happened to NIDO? It's a thing of the past.
Okay, well, Dr. Kasim and the leaders at that time, that started NIDO, they were leading us at that time. I'd asked somebody, Chief Umbolu, to go and register the name, and Chief Umbolu decided that because he wasn't getting his way, he was going to. He was the owner of the name NIDO Canada, and as such, we kind of disagree at that time. We decided that we were going to go to court for it, because some people were adamant that the name belonged to the public and not to an individual. But according to the law of Canada, whoever registered it is and the way he registers it is the owner until he is ready to release it. He owns it. So we lost. The lawyer, the judge said it was a Pyrrhic victory. I don't know if you know the meaning of Pyrrhic. It was more like an empty shell, empty vessel, because people make the organization.
Did he register it in his own name without including other members of the association or the group?
He had 3 names, which all of them were just his people that he chose randomly. So it wasn't registered in
the interest of the community.
Interest of the community. And when he recalled it, we challenged it, and we lost in court. And he won, but the judge said it was a Pyrrhic victory. So, and he also trademarked the name NIDO in Canada, so we can't even use the name in NIDO in Canada anymore. So we had to, and I, as a part of the leader at that time, believe that that people make organizations, not the name. So I encourage the people to say, okay, look, if we can't use the name, we have to find a name for ourselves. So we changed the name that time. We started with the Nigerian Professional and Business Network, but because most of the non-Nigerians want to be part of it.
Okay.
So over the years, because they love what we are doing, we did actually. 2010 we had as NIDO Canada, we brought in Governor Benga Daniels.
Okay.
Was one of our speakers, the Chateau Laurier. He was here, for 3 days for the conference. Abike Dabiri was at the house at that time. She was part of it. We had a lot of dignitaries that joined also. So what we ended up doing was, fast forward to the present, because most of the African brothers and Canadians love what we are doing and they want to be part of it. So we ended up changing the name to Nigerian and Canadian Business Network, so that it will carry everybody along. And we also believe that we need to be able to interact with business-minded people locally before we even try to go to Nigeria. So that's how we have been able to do that.
Okay, so what's your role in the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network? What's your position? Are you the president, or what's your role?
I'm the national chairman of the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network since 2014, and we have chapters all over in major cities in Canada. And the whole idea is for us to have like-minded business people to synergize together. But we kept the name Nigerian because we want to make sure that any opportunity that arises from our association in Canada will first go to Nigeria to help the people, and not not to any other countries trying to compete. So we wanted to make sure that the foundation of the organization is still Nigerian, and that most of the benefit will accrue to Nigeria in terms of opportunities.
So still talking about Nigerian and Canadian business network.
Yes.
Are you able to share a memorable story or memorable success story that have resulted from this group?
Yeah. Well, yes. In 2000 and 2000 and 2020, I think we were able to. One of the participants that came in 2010 to the conference that we did, his name is Dinray Chandari.
Where is he from?
He's a Kenyan Canadian friend that wanted to expand. The family they have they have factories all over the world, including in the U.S. and but mainly in Kenya. They wanted to expand to Nigeria, so I was able to, at that time, invite them to Nigeria, and we wanted to actually set up the factory in at Olabisi Onabanjo University. At that time, my senior brother was the vice chancellor at that time.
So and who was that?
Jimmy Adesanya.
Okay.
The vice chancellor at the Olabisi Onabanjo University. So I was able to take Tinray to Nigeria to look at opportunities, to establish at that time in Nigeria. And I'm happy to say that, the company has established now, although they not at the university, but they are at the Lekki, free trade zone, a company that manufactures fortified foods for the West African distribution for the USA.
What's the name of the company in Nigeria now?
It's called Area Foods.
Area Foods.
Yeah, they're doing very well, and so they distributing all the products for, for, I don't know if you know fortified foods. Fortified food is more like those candy bars that when you have hunger in any part of Africa,
yeah,
they give all the kids to bring them back to life.
Yeah,
because they pack it with nutrients. So it's being manufactured in Nigeria now. So
okay. Now you said that company was to establish in Olabisi Onabanjo University, but something happened and they went to Lekki Arena.
Yeah, because they needed 24-hour power, and their requirement was that they have, that the school will be able to bring gas line, to
the campus.
To a point, so that now they can convert it. They can invest to convert it into power, and even power give the university 24-hour power electricity. But they were not able. The governor at that time was not able to. I think, was not able to fulfill that need, that requirement. So that's why they moved to where Dangote is right now, because at that time Dangote refinery was, was setting up, and at the same time their requirement was 24-hour power, so they were able to benefit from that.
So when you say the governor the former governor of the state,
Ogun
Ibikunle
State.
Amosu,
Yes.
was not fulfilling. Did he make any promise at the initiation of the project?
I don't know the details because all I know is that the school was not able to meet up the requirements, the minimum requirement for the power generation, and that's why they lost the to Lekki Ekwezo.
Now, if I may ask, let us assume that that project was eventually executed in Olabisi Onabanjo University. What kind of benefit would that have translated to for the Ijebu community?
Well, it would have been, because it was in Agaway, it would have been a very lucrative thing, because they were going to be able to train the students as a course. They were going to be able to employ the students, to work at the factory. They were going to provide electricity for the university, 24-hour electricity for the university. They were prepared to even, do their CSR, contribution to the university. So it would have been a great asset, for the university. But unfortunately, they were not able to capitalize on the opportunity that we presented to them.
Do you think that was a one-time opportunity that's lost forever, or there could still be another opportunity, considering the fact that your elder brother is no longer the vice chancellor of the university right now? Yeah. Would you like to give them another chance?
Not specifically to the university, because then it was easier for me to arrange meetings, because my brother was there. The passion was there. Right now, I'm more from a Nigeria-wide, in focus. Anywhere the opportunity presents itself, we look for the best opportunity. The best area to absorb the opportunity that we are bringing in. So we're talking to different governors. We believe that we have to do our share, and the goal of the NCBN, the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network, is to leverage the opportunity that are available to us in Canada, and the friendship and the partnership that we are able to make in Canada for the benefit of creating employment and opportunity in Nigeria. So that's our goal, and we are trying every day to fulfill that goal for the benefit of the masses in Nigeria.
King Wale Adesanya.
Yes.
For the benefit of people who do not know you very well, and people who actually see you from far away, they are not close acquaintances.
Yes.
As a community leader and a business networker, what are some of your proudest moments, especially within the area of business, community leadership, and your career?
Well, there are a lot of proud moments, and as we grow, we accomplish, different, a different level of accomplishment also. I think my latest accomplishment will be, the idea that I wrote a book.
What's the title?
It's like The Power of Networking, and it's available, on Amazon right now. It's a book that I'm very proud of. I think that, everybody should, take a look at it, because the book tells the story of my, experience networking on a global scale, networking, from the Nigerian and Canadian, trade association, trade promotion, and meeting people along the line. The foreword is, was written by Honorable Abike Dabiri, the national chairman of the Nigerian Diaspora Investment Commission, which is an agency of the Nigerian government. She wrote a very good foreword for the book, and a few of the personal experience was shared in the book. It's an easy read, so you shouldn't take too much time, and there are a lot of takeaways um, also at the end of every chapter. So I think people will benefit from it. That's one of my biggest, accomplishment, for sure. Although I'm writing my second book now, I'm being motivated by that. I'm in the process of doing that. Um, Besides having, my kids, I think in life, the biggest accomplishments are, baby steps, personal, moments that, people that you have, surviving every day. It's also an accomplishment. So, I mean, the big things are relatively, it depends on how you look at it. Some are big, some are okay, but what is big to me might not be big to anybody. So, I think just being alive gives you opportunity to do more, But my biggest joy is always when I can contribute to the development of my community, within the domain of the country and of the universe.
King Adewale, will you be so magnanimous to share 3 tantalizing nuggets from this book that will inspire people to say, well, I need to get a copy?
Well, thank you very much for that opportunity. Yes, the first thing that I will say is, people why people should get the book is the idea that the foreground of it. I mean, the idea that everybody that you meet is a blessing.
Hmm.
Everybody that you meet is a blessing. It is up to you whether you are courageous enough to say hello to the person that you're meeting, because you never know who is sitting next to you on a plane. You never know who's sitting next to you on a bus, or who's sitting next to you at a conference. And if you miss the opportunity to say hello and introduce yourself, then it's your fault that you missed the opportunity, and it may not come back again. So that's one of the takeaway from the book. The other, then because the book was written last year. There's the idea of how to use social media, to your benefit, to network, um, to promote yourself. You have, most people don't, just like, when you have a phone, you only use about 10% of it. Most of us, we only use about, maybe 10% of our knowledge of the features on social media. So the book kind of give you an idea of how to, increase your usage to at least 50%. So give you ideas of, how to use social media to benefit yourself from a business perspective. And the book also, tells you about, or relieve you of the fear of the unknown. As a Canadian that wants to go to, for example, to Nigeria, you need to know the culture. If you want to do business in Nigeria, it's better for you to understand, the culture in Nigeria of doing business there for you to be successful. Because the way you do business in Canada might not be the way, acceptable, or might not be productive, when you go to Nigeria. For example, when they ask you in Nigeria to come and eat, and one of the best way to network is to at least sit down and get to know them better, instead of just coming in and say, this is what I want, and I gotta go. That might not work in some cultures. So you need to know, you know you need to find time to get to know other people, and also from the Nigerian and Canadian business network perspective, it's best for you to, you know network first with Nigerians in diaspora that are living in Canada, so that you know them and you can learn from them before you start saying, okay, I want to go to business in Nigeria where you've never been before. That's how most people get scammed, because they think they can just go to another country and without
Invest.
and invest, and you don't know, what are the factors that are not transparent but will affect your business. So those are the things that covered in the book. That look, it's best for you to partner with somebody in the diaspora to go and invest and open a business in Nigeria. You everybody wins, and also Nigeria is an opportunity, and it's a what's it called now? It's like an insurance element, because somebody goes to Nigeria uh, and do business with a a non with just a Nigerian. If the business doesn't work, or the Canadian decide, okay, I'm taking all the profit, I'm coming to Canada, the partner in Nigeria cannot just come to Canada, because there are visa requirement, there's opportunity. So the guy can just rip you off in Nigeria and come back to Canada without any remorse, and you can't do nothing about it. But if you're a member of the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network, the insurance is that the organization can, you know, uh, find the person and make sure that it does right by you. So that's an opportunity for you to be able to. And so it's an insurance element that your partner cannot just leave you hanging in Nigeria and come back to Canada without any repercussion. So, and vice versa, in Nigeria, if you're a Canadian company and you go to Nigeria and somebody wants to rip you up, the organization can interfere and help you to recoup your investment. So, and that's why we have a very good relationship from an organization, from the NCBN perspective, with both the High Commissioner in Nigeria and High Commission, the Canadian High Commissioner in Nigeria, and the Nigerian High Commission in Canada, and Global Affairs. We also, from because we are a credible, recognized, registered organization, not for profit organization in Canada, we are obligated to to have a good relationship with the business community, so that if anybody wants to do business in Nigeria, we give from Nigeria to in Canada, we can give them soft landing, and vice versa. We can advise people that want to go to Nigeria, to do business, or to as a diplomat, we can advise them as to what should be done.
Your organization is more or less like a linking bridge.
We are bridge builders. Yes, we are bridge builders for business people, and sometimes some diplomatic things, and we work in partnership, to develop opportunities with the embassies.
Okay, good. Now, there is something I observe about you, King Wale, in the first few months that I knew you a couple of years ago. And ever since, this has been one thing that's been consistent with you. You meet people at different locations, whether at events or social gatherings. One thing is that you try to ask questions, trying to know this person you are meeting for the first time, not waiting for the person to unveil himself or herself. Are there reasons why you do that?
Well, yes. I mean, it's part of the stuff that I discussed in the book, which is basically everybody is a blessing. When you meet the people, you meet everybody on a daily basis. The question is, do you really know that person? Do you know what kind of, you need to get to know them from a business perspective. What kind of business, what do they do? Because if you don't have that database, you meet people, and you just say hi, bye, and the opportunity will elude you. Unlike, and that's the difference between the NCBN and the NCAO, the Nigerian Canadian Organization Association. That it's a community focused event. It's for everybody. It's for the welfare of Nigerians in Canada. The Nigerian and Canadian Business Network is all about business. We're all about how can we help each other. If I see you as a business person, I'm even more interested in you because I want to see how I can assist you. How can with my knowledge and with whatever you need. I believe that, the next few years of Nigerians in Canada is going to be fantastic. I can see that the next 10 years, Canada is going to, be feeling the impact of Nigerians in Canada. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm so happy and so passionate about it, is because the immigration uh, system, quotas in Canada has changed drastically. Before, in the past, most of the people that came from Nigeria to Canada were students. Everybody comes to go to school, but because of the demographic changes in and the system that Canada, um, operates in terms of their pension system, because most of the baby boomers like us, um, are retiring, and there were a lot of kids, baby boomer kids, after the Second World War, they were born that will be retiring soon. And because Canadians generally don't have more than 1.5 kids, maybe one kid and a dog or 2 kids, whatever. So there's not enough.
So that's 1.5.
Yes. So there's not enough, young people get into the workforce. And because the pension system of Canada is based on the people that are working, paying for the pensioners like us, and and there are more people that are retiring than the number of people that are in the workforce. And you can't have a kid today and the kid start paying taxes to at the end of the month. So there's a need for Canada to increase the quota for their immigration, and now they are bringing in a little bit more mature working class Nigerians here. And if anybody know Nigerians compared to the global community also, Nigerians will find a way to create employment, and they're also very, very intelligent. And one of the things that we have as a background is that education is key. And since Canada is now, they have taken the invisible glass ceiling that used to be there, that as a black man you cannot become this get beyond this position of director or assistant director, because the Liberal Party has removed that invisible ceiling, and it's all based on your competition and education. So I expect that Nigerian youths are going to excel. When they are given the equal opportunity with any other group. So you will see more young Nigerians becoming occupying
executive positions,
roles in the Canadian government. And also, that Nigerians, they like their side hustle. So you're going to be seeing them creating jobs and and getting a job in one business or the other. So the impact of Nigerians is yet to be seen, and it is coming up in the next 5 to 10 years in Canada here. So I think Nigeria is going to take over the leadership of Canada, and I won't be surprised, in the next 10 years to see that. I hope for that, and I pray for that too.
That's out there. Nigerians are taking over the leadership of Canada.
Yes.
Now, King Wale, how do you measure the impact of what you do on your community and as well as within the business world?
Well, I mean, we get feedback from, we get feedback from what we do. We know that, like, I mean, a, a, a good number of our people are, establishing businesses, and the business are thriving. We are advising the people that, have not, for example, I know now that, in Ottawa alone, we have, maybe about 6 restaurants, that are Nigerian owned restaurants and Nigerian flavored restaurants right now, which in the last 10 years wasn't the case. So that's a big measure of it. We are also talking to the Nigerian government to see how we can, maybe make it easier for them to import Nigerian foods to Canada at a very reasonable, rate. Maybe warehousing it for them so that, they don't have to worry about transportation, and they have easy access to the products that they want to sell. We are also, trying to network people so that, instead of you being the only one bringing, container from Nigeria, maybe you can partner with other people. And so long as you are not competing, sitting on each other, if you give yourself space, like one in the West End, East End, South Side, and Canada, I mean, Montreal, Toronto, you can, network together and help each other to grow and get the goods cheaper. So those are the things that we are doing. And in terms of feedback, we are getting feedback because we have more people, joining the network, at ncbn.ca. And we hope that, we get more people that are business minded. And we also have more people now that are actually retiring here because their kids have permanent residency here. And even now, Canada is trying to keep every student that comes here. Any Nigerian student that comes here is given a work permit right away, unlike when we came, and that we could lose our, our visa, right away. But now they're encouraging them to stay and work and get the Canadian experience. So that's the future. That's the present, and it's going to have an impact on the future of Nigerians in Canada, and I'm proud of that.
What type of awards or recognitions have you received due to your contributions in the last few years?
Well, thank you very much. I tend not to live on awards. I mean, it's good to be recognized, and I'm blessed to have had a number of awards. I think I'm one of the for the last 2 years, I've been on the list of the top 100 most influential Black people in Canada. I have received award from from the Nigerian Diaspora Investment the Nigerian NITCOM as one of the Merit Global Award people. We also have also listed on the top 600 people globally of Nigerians, influential Nigerians, globally. But and I've also been awarded different, awards by Leadership and Governance, by Afro Global TV, by television. And I think I'm blessed that with a lot of awards, different organizations have given me, recognition, and I'm blessed. I appreciate all of them. I can't name all of them, but I appreciate all of them.
Now, still talking about awards and recognition. Yes, to my understanding, I believe some of these or all of these awards you've mentioned, they are awards that were given to you in the Western world. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
So are there any awards coming from your own base, your place of origin, like Nigeria, or from Abeokuta, where your parents actually hail from, or any kind of chieftaincy title? Because people, in the last, I think, was it last year, people were actually saying that there was a rumor on some of the social media platforms that King Wale was going to be installed.
Yes.
How true was that?
It is actually true. I mean, one of our, Nigerian Canadian network member is now the king of Ilaro, King, Oba Alexander McGregor, who is one of my young brothers here in Canada, but is now installed as the king of the kingdom there, and he offered me the chieftaincy title last year, which was very received. We also, as far as
Did you go for the installation?
No, I didn't go for the installation because I was traveling the world at that time.
So are you going to reschedule that?
We're going to reschedule that. And as far as the award from the Nigerian government, I'm one of the first, I think one of the 10 people that received award of merit last year.
From the Nigerian
From
government?
the Nigerian government through the Nigerian Diaspora Investment. Through NIDCOM, yes. So I was one of the few during the Diaspora Day last year. So I was happy with that.
All right. Now, let's talk about some challenges as a community leader and a business networker. Yes. Not just as a community leader, but as an immigrant community leader. Yes. What were those challenges that you faced as an immigrant community leader and a business networker, and how did you resolve them?
Good question. I think the main thing that we have as immigrants is lack of capital. We are very smart people, especially now, I'm speaking as Nigerians now, that I know. We are very, very smart and very, courageous and very entrepreneurial people, but the lack of capital is one of the challenges that I find that, is handicapping the progress of Nigerians here. I remember back in the days, when I was younger, in the 60s, people used to come to America, England or whatever, to study and go back, and they used to have a position of, to be able to contribute to the country. And I remember back in the days, the regions used to have investments in foreign land that will yield them monthly income to be able to take care of their regions. Unfortunately, I believe whatever, I don't know exactly what happened in the past, but I know that, those kind of investments have diminished, have disappeared, which is unfortunate because the people that are really doing it now are the Chinese and the Indians, whereby they invest here in Canada, and they are able to, one, contribute to the economy here, but at the same time, they can employ their own people, they can empower their own people. For example, there's nothing wrong with the governor of a state in Nigeria coming here and buying apartments and putting on the name of the state, and getting foreign exchange remitted to the states on a monthly basis.
As a state investment.
As a state investment that is being managed, professionally, that is, that employs Nigerians, give Nigerian youth opportunity. And on a monthly basis, for example, if you buy, a number of apartments here, the revenue on a monthly basis can be, repatriated to Nigeria as a foreign exchange, foreign direct, it, income to the states, which will edge, the fluctuation of the naira. That used to be, in the 60s, it disappeared. The Indians are doing it, the Chinese are doing it. Most of the places here, buildings here, you'll be surprised, are owned by Chinese, Indians and everything. You go to Brampton, most of the businesses are owned by Indians. They can bring their youth here to, at any time, because they have the economic power. We need to get that, to that uh, state, as Nigerians. We need, and that's why we at the network, we are bridge builders. We build bridges. We want to be able to network people that want to invest in outside Nigeria to come to Canada and partner with diasporans here or Canadians, through the network, that we, and invest here to create jobs. And that's when they're going to respect us as Nigerians, when we are job creators instead of job seekers. So when we start creating jobs, then we can determine who we employ, which in some cases or most cases will probably be have one of us or one of our kids, children, in getting job easily. So those are the things that I think we need to um, come together to make sure that it comes, true. Because I mean, everybody's always talking about naira, devaluation or whatever. If you want to edge against that and you have some money that you want to invest, in Canada, let us talk about it. Let us see how we can get you partners that can that are credible, that are trustworthy, that you can partner with, so that you can make money, by bringing more dollars, to Nigeria. So those are the things that I think should be the future of you know uh, Nigerians in Canada, and I think it's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to happen soon.
King Wale, while you are talking about this state investment, especially from um, states in Nigeria, um, something just struck my mind, and that's the personal investment of some politicians. I stand to be corrected. The information that I have is that there are some politicians that have personal investment outside Nigeria. For instance, Dino Melaye. Dino Melaye. I heard from the news that Dino Melaye has about um, 7 branches of McDonald's across the world. So, um, if an individual could have that, I think what you are saying will be more relevant if states can invest outside Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Now, if that is not happening, and you are comparing Nigeria to the Chinese, the Indians, are we saying the Indians and the Chinese are more collaborative?
Yes. Yes. And yes, definitely they are more trusting within the community. They are more focused on building, their empire globally through their own people. An Indian, I went to a restaurant in Brampton the other day in Toronto, and most of the people, 99% of the people were that works at that restaurant are Indians. So you know that they are bringing their people, educated or not, so long as it's their people, and they're bringing them to work here. And once you are a job creator, Canada allows you to get involved as to choosing who you want to bring here. For example, a Nigerian restaurant can easily bring a Nigerian cook from Nigeria, because Canadians cannot get that kind of job. They don't know how to cook the food.
They don't know how to prepare amala.
Prepare amala. So definitely they have to bring it.
And they cannot prepare ogbono soup.
Ogbono soup or edokaiti or whatever.
Edikaikon, yeah.
So you can. So there's opportunity for you to bring in some experts from Nigeria to and support the family. At the same time, talking about people that have money to invest, there are a lot of people that have come and they invested in real estate here, and they're doing very well, I believe. There are some people that have come in, and especially instead of going to Dubai, I mean, like Atiku is supposed to own a lot of businesses in Dubai. They can come to Canada and do the same thing, and that's how we collectively as Nigerians will get more in respect, because we are creating jobs. Unlike people will come in here and hide money that is not benefiting anybody. So instead of coming here to park money, in a bank, and when you die, nobody knows where the money is, you can create jobs. You can come in, buy businesses, and we do have people that have the opportunity to that can help you with the visa, situation. If you want to invest in Canada or you want to create a job here, the network at the network we have professionals that can assist you and get your family permanent residency here anytime you are ready to go, but you have to have a minimum investment in Canada. So we can do that for you from the network perspective, but at the same time, the whole idea is to have the understanding that Canada is open for business, the same way Nigeria is open for business. So we are encouraging, we are building the bridge for both business people in Nigeria and business people from Canada to come in and partner and create employment for people.
King Wale, recently, a couple of months ago, the government of Nigeria actually put out a clarion call to Nigerians in diaspora, saying, hey guys, instead of you putting your money into things outside Nigeria, come back home. Come and invest. Your investments are protected. Now, and interacting with a couple of people, I think a number of people are scared because of trust issues. What do you have to say about this?
Well, there's trust issue everywhere. But I think that the more we know each other, the more we interact with each other, the better the trust aspect comes in, and that's why it's better to be part of an organization that are credible and that you meet frequently like-minded people. The more that the Nigerian government interact with the diaspora people, and the more they're going to build trust and alleviate the people not being able. The lack of trust between the diaspora people. And don't forget that most of the diasporas have been sort of wounded. Excuse me, by the sending money to their family, friends, brothers, and all stuff to build a house, and the house is not there. But then, thank God, there are Nigerian professionals now that are organizing themselves, and they are, becoming credible business people and trustworthy people that can build a home for you in Nigeria now, or you can go to Nigeria and buy, a really a unit in a very influential estate. So, and the good thing about it, they're coming here to interact with the they come in to interact with the diaspora people there. So I can see that in the last 10 years or 15 years, things are getting better. You have professional people, real estate people. There we have as a network from the SBN, we have network groups of real estate developer, real estate focused salespeople that making it easier for people to be able to get buy real estate in a good area.
Now, sorry for interjecting you.
No problem.
You mentioned that some people have had nasty experience with friends, family members back home when they send money. Are you talking from experience? If yes, do you want to share your experience?
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people that have been, disappointed by, uh, their expectation of what they have sent money to do and did not materialize. I have I have some people that have bought properties in Nigeria that did not meet their standards. I mean, a good example. I mean, but it's not. It's all lost in translation because what a Nigerian would think is a good quality home may, maybe not up to par, from a Western exposed person, So I know one of the problems that we have in Nigeria is finishing. That's why you find that, we are very, I think, and we have to change that because when you see most of the detailing people are more like from Cotonou, when you're talking about laying tiles and doing trimmings in the houses in Nigeria. So we need to come back, to start establishing technical schools that will train people on how to, be patient enough to have the right,
Finishing.
plumbing, the right, finishing as far as the house is concerned, or cutting the tiles and, the slabs and all that stuff. So we need to basically invest in that, in the technical schools, bring them back. And because those are the small details that, speak volume. Because once you build a house, the house is there for 50 years, for 25 years. So you may think, oh, this is just a possible thing, but that possible thing, people will see it over and over again. So it's best to really, be detailed and do it right the first time. So those are the problems that I think we have in Nigeria that have that can cause confusion between what the diaspora needs and they're not. I mean, I know a younger doctor, a younger friend of mine, that just bought a property in Ilorin, and the picture that they sent him, it was like really, really good, and they thought, they were showing him, and he bought the property, overnight, and when he went there, he's now looking to sell it because he said it's not even up to par, what they were showing him. He was very disappointed. So I think it's the lack of communication.
But he got a house.
He bought the house, but it's not. He wants to sell it because it's not. It didn't meet his expectation. He was going to set up a clinic in Ilorin with the property, but it's not what it was sold.
Well, comparatively, I think the person should still be grateful and express gratitude to God. Why? Because as compared to some people situation, they sent millions of naira, and of course they share pictures or photos with them. But when they get to Nigeria, nothing is on ground.
Yes. Yeah.
But that is not peculiar to Nigeria. But I want to say to some African families.
Yes, definitely. I think Nigeria is getting better. I'm always looking, to the positive aspect of life. I always look at it that yes, in the past I've had stories of that there was not even a shed to look at when after sending a lot of money to families back home, especially going into the village. But I mean, I believe that things are getting better. I believe that things will get better. I know that it's all a matter of you know the government doing back. I mean, doing good by the people, and as we move forward, with a different dispensation, I think things will definitely get better, and more people with the internet, more people are seeing what is you know going on. They can monitor things on real time, and they can make things right by uh, you know on the ground. So
Okay, King Wale. Now, quickly, who are your mentors and your role models, and how have they influenced your lifestyle?
good. I try to look for role models that basically positive thinkers. Um,
Mm.
and as you grow old, your mentors change because of the fact that you find out more things about them, and then you have the opportunity to change yourself. I mean, to change your position on that. My role model will be my father. My father was very entrepreneurial. He was very hardworking person, and he kind of rose from being what's it called, an entry level to an area manager for the western region of UBA. He was a banker, so definitely is one of my role models. I used to like Muhammad Gandhi for his non-violence role, but I soon changed my mind now. That's part of growing up. The more you know, the more you examine yourself as to whether the guy should be my role model or
So,
not.
who is your current?
So my current role model will probably be a younger person than me, who is President Obama. And I'll tell you why he's a role model, because I think that it's a role model for not failing the black people while he was president of the United States. Yes, he wasn't perfect. Yes, there's some things that he could have done better, but the 8 years of his presidency is something that all the young black people should be proud of, and I think definitely it's a role model for me, and I think everybody that is doing the right thing. Dr. Kasim is comes to mind. Is my boy in Toronto who has you know a part, I mean, a part in the book that I wrote because of the respect that I have for him as a big brother, and his contribution to the community as a whole, because he has invested a lot of both time, energy, and leadership, into the Nigerian and Canadian business community. So there are a lot of people that I can mention, but I'll stop there.
King Wale, thank you so much. But I still have 2-3 questions for you.
Okay.
Looking at life generally, what inspires you?
I'll say what inspires me is the opportunity to help another human beings. That's my inspiration. I like people that are positive. I like people that want to see the good in other people. I like people that know when to be silent, or that understand that it's better to be silent than be negative, because we are all energy, and once you put the wrong energy out, you know, the universe will respond the same way. So my, inspiration is the opportunity to create a very strong black footprints in Canada, that for the benefit of everybody, not necessarily for just the minority group, but also I think we need to build a better community that is inclusive. And I'm always excited and happy when I see a Nigerian in Canada do good. It kind of motivates, and inspires me to know that we are getting better every day. The community is getting better every day.
King Wale Adesanya. Egbon, you were born in Kano.
Yes.
Your parents hail from Abeokuta.
Yes.
Do you speak Yoruba?
Of course, but where you brother? That's your roots.
Speak Yoruba and let our viewers enjoy your fluency.
Oh, ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ gbogbo yín. Okay. It's I mean, inú mi dùn láti wà lórí ètò yìí. I think ètò dáadáa ní eléyìí, and gbogbo wa ó yẹ kí a pín fún àwọn yòókù, so that gbogbo wa
ká fún ká
so that gbogbo àgbáyé wọ́n á lè benefit from what we discuss here. And irú ètò yìí a fẹ́ kí ó máa tẹ̀síwájú, so gbogbo wa gbọ́dọ̀ máa pín, fúnra wa, ká fi educate ara wa.
Ẹ ti gbìyànjú.
Thank you.
Ẹ ti gbìyànjú. Honestly, it's not easy. It's not easy because you are in a mixed world.
Yes.
In a mixed world, the world of Yoruba, the world of Pidgin English, and the world of absolute English.
That's
because
right.
of your family setup.
Yes.
So, fún yín láti tún sọ Yorùbá at this age, having lost the opportunity to communicate absolutely in Yoruba language, especially within your family setting for more than 40 years.
Yes.
Níṣẹ́ yẹ ká ṣí fìlà fún yín. What would you like to share as your last gift in form of word of advice, words of wisdom to the community, to the young adults, to the business entrepreneurs, to people that are aspiring to start businesses, and to the world globally?
Thank you for the opportunity. I think I will start with the idea that we need to know that we are all interconnected in this universe, and no man is an island. So whatever we do, so long as we understand that it affects other people, either positively or negatively. So we need to be conversant about that and understand that, once, if you put a drop of ink in the water becomes undrinkable. So we should be worried about the kind of energy that we put out on a daily basis. As Nigerians, we need to understand that if we want Nigeria to get better, we have to become the change that we wish to see, and that's the Gandhi quote. So instead of only blaming our leaders, we are the leader of tomorrow, and we are leaders in our own writing wherever we are. So we need to lead the way we want, leadership to look like. And as such, we need to stop blaming each other. We need to basically roll our sleeves up and become our own role models, even if there's nobody, looking at us. So I think the future of Nigeria is fantastic. The future of Nigerians in Canada is even much, much better. I just pray that because we fought for the inclusion um, in Canada, that they should increase the quota for um, immigrants from Nigeria when they will. Because at one time they were looking towards Europe to open for immigration. We were part of the people that had dialogue with the Canadian government to say, look, you should not limit it to Europe. You should include Africa, and by Africa, Nigeria being the biggest population. So we fought for that. My, uh, I am happy uh, when I see things work out. That new immigrants come in and they are doing great. I expect them to do greater than what we have been able to accomplish, for all these years. But I just pray that the bad apples don't spoil the rest of the people, opportunity for the rest of the people, because as people are opening up their hearts and their minds to, you know, uh, our community, I hope that the few bad apples will not, you know, spoil the opportunity for all of us by giving us a bad name. And I'm talking about in terms of doing, what they're not supposed to do in terms of scamming and all that stuff. And that's because it will affect business. I remember when, back in the days when we are trying to mobilize people to come into business with partnership with Nigerians. One of the things that they used to say in the past, thank God it's gone down now, is because was the 419 letters back in like 15 years ago. So all that is gone now, because the more exposed to good people that they see, the more they realize that they are mistaken, that the 419 people don't represent us. So I believe that the future is going to be fantastic for the youths of that are here, and I expect great things for them, and I wish them you know better life in Canada, and better cultural integration in Canada, and the people that want to come in from Nigeria, you're welcome to come. Um, you know, if you want to come and contribute, I'm sure Canada will give you the opportunity. But if you come into because of you run away from something, you have anywhere you are, you need to be able to, contribute. So that's what I would say. That don't think Canada is better than Nigeria. I personally believe that there are more opportunity. I haven't lived here in Canada for a long time. I believe there are more opportunity for growth in Nigeria, because there are so many things to do. There are more roads needed in Nigeria. Here in Canada, it's just maintenance. There's very little opportunity here, but you have mining opportunity in Nigeria. You have real estate opportunity in Nigeria because of the population. Canada is like 25% in population compared to Nigeria. We have 40 million people here. Nigeria is over 250 million people.
Almost 300.
Almost 300. So, which tells you that, the opportunity is there. We just need in the government to do one thing for us, and one thing for Nigerians to grow, to come in his riding, and I think that's electricity. If the government can fix the electricity, you'll be surprised how many diaspora people that will want to go back to Nigeria, including myself. Although that's not the main thing, but if there's 24-hour electricity, there will be business opportunity to manufacture, things. There will be more companies coming because the population is already there, in Nigeria. So whatever you manufacture, there's a sale. I mean, there's a market for it. But if you don't have the electricity, if you're going to be paying too much money on buying diesel and all that stuff, your cost becomes higher and it's not profitable, which goes back to where we started from. In any business, you need to buy low, and so that your markup can still be reasonable, so that you can make profit. So like in entertainment, make sure you don't pay too much for the artist, because that's how you lose a lot of money. The same thing in manufacturing. Keep your costs low so that you can
high return on investment.
Yeah, you can get better return on your investment, because while keeping a reasonable markup. So that's what I tell people. Let us, encourage the government to work on how to get at least for the major, urban centers, 24-hour electricity, and you'll be surprised how much job will be created in Nigeria.
Viewers at home, we really want to thank you for taking time to watch this episode. I want to sincerely thank King Wale Adesanya. Egbon, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for the words of wisdom, the experience you've shared, the value of what you've shared with us and the viewers is inestimable. On this note, I want to appeal to you. If you're watching this channel, Aramuda TV, for the first time, I want to appeal to you to share this video with families, with friends, with colleagues, and with neighbors, so that other people can learn. And besides, I also want to appeal to you to subscribe to this channel so that you will get notification for the next video. At this point, I want to say good evening, good night, good morning, depending on wherever you're actually watching from. Bye. It's me, Dr. Alaba Agbatogun.